I think that we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this happy hour number 5 talk with a series of, people that I don't personally know. So I'm privileged and honored to have this task of moderating this conversation for Fabulamundi. It's Friday. It's Friday afternoon. It's been an intense week for Fabulamundi. We were just saying before that some of you have just gotten off another Zoom workshop within the Fabulamundi weekly program. So, we're ending this intense week, and I do hope that this conversation will help us just round up what we have been talking about these past 4 days. My name is Mercedes Giovinazzo. As I told some of you before we started this conversation, I am new to the family, Fabulamundi family. I am not someone who works in the theater sector. I have the pleasure of knowing quite well some of the partners within Fabulamundi, but not all of them. And this assignment, this task that they have given me has enabled me to get to know some of you and to really appreciate the work that you all do. And I'm here to lead this conversation from afar and very humbly in full respect of what you all do. As is customary, these happy hour talks have 4 speakers, 2 people that represent 2 of the partner institutions within Fabulamundi. And today we have Aldona Figura and Caroline Marcillac in this role. And then we have another 2 participants, 2 playwrights that have participated in the Fabulamundi endeavor. And today we have Pier Lorenzo Pisano and Gerard Watkins, who will accompany us. I think that today there is a particularity to this conversation, and it is that both playwrights have worked with Aldona Figura and Caroline Marcillac. So in order to start this conversation, I would just like to add that what I usually do is have a first round of interventions during which or through which I ask you to give us your critical input as regards Fabulamundi. As I have said these past 4 days, it is not about you telling us necessarily what you have done in terms of activities, but rather sharing with us what Fabulamundi has meant for your institutions, for instance, or for you as playwrights. Again, it's not necessarily all wonderful, but I hope yes, in part, but also any insights as to, again, constructively critical approach would be much appreciated. So thank you very much for joining me this afternoon, to the 4 of you. And I will start by introducing Aldona Figura. Aldona, you are, if I am correct, a theater director in residency at what I would translate in English, but forgive me if it's not correct, the Drama Theater in Warsaw, or the Warsaw Drama Theater, which is, as some of the partners, but not all of the partners in Fabulamundi, an institution. It is a public theater in Poland. It was founded many, many years ago, back in 1949, so right after World War II. And your mission is to show, promote, divulge both classical and contemporary theater. So you span a whole range of, let's say, proposals from a theatrical point of view. You are about tradition, but you are also as well about experimentation, I understand. And in this line of experimentation, in 2003, the theater founded the Drama Lab in order to possibly promote new playwrights. I would also like to take this opportunity to say that within Fabulamundi, there have been 10 Polish writers that have been involved in the project in these last years, and that I had the pleasure of talking with Thomas Mann during one of these previous conversations. So Aldona, I would ask you to give us your, your take, your input, what you take back also from Fabulamundi, please.
So I will start with our institution, what you said, that we try to merge tradition with new theater, with new writing. We are a very big theater. We have 4 venues actually, so that's why we range from classical playwriting to contemporary playwriting. And as you said, in 2003 we started promoting Polish contemporary writing. And when it went quite well, I mean, more and more people were writing plays, and we were also staging them. Then we thought about looking for, I mean, Fabulamundi was this opportunity to look for contemporary foreign playwriting. So that's how it started, and we were very curious about foreign playwriting, and we were rather focused on finding texts for readings, but also for staging. We found Gerard Watkins' play. Actually, I did, and we staged it. And so this is something I really would like to say about something successful about the project. As for some critical remarks, I regret that we didn't have much opportunity to see the results of our cooperation. Like I know that there were many workshops, exchanges, playwrights were going around the countries involved in the project, but I would be also interested to see how someone staged a play in another country which we were reading or we rejected. I mean, that's something I lack actually, maybe. So that's something for to say for a start.
Okay, so we will maybe take up both your work with Gerard Watkins later, because you directed the play, if I'm not wrong, and also this issue about maybe some of the regrets when one ends a project. Is this project, many years, a lot of energy, a lot of resources, a lot of, I think, emotional input, apart from the work, but a lot of emotional input. There is always a sense of regret at the end, of sadness as well. So I like that idea of putting it forward. Thank you. Let's go to Caroline Marcillac. Thank you for being here today. I have seen that you took over in 2014 as artistic director of Théâtre Ouvert, which is Centre National, a national center for dramaturgy in France. So it is one of the flagship theaters in France. I didn't know, but I discovered that it was actually, the idea came from someone like Jean Villard back in the beginning of the 70s at the Festival d'Avignon, and that you were transferred, or you transferred to Paris only at the beginning of the 80s. And what I have read is that, yes, your mission is to promote contemporary drama, but that you do this by providing a journey both for the playwrights and also for, at the end of the work, for the audience, in the sense that you talk about readings, you talk about translation, you talk about production. And in that sense, you have also set up quite recently, if I'm not wrong, the École Pratique des Auteurs de Théâtre, in terms of also providing for this laboratory for young or contemporary playwrights. So it's a complex project, yours, with a lot of visibility in France, because you are acknowledged by the Ministry of Culture, et cetera, et cetera. So again, you're a flagship. institution. And in the framework of Fabulamundi, you have, of course, worked, but I have counted, no, there have been many, many playwrights involved in, French playwrights involved in Fabulamundi. I have counted 22, which is a lot, with respect to other participating countries. And apart from being today with Gérard, but I have already had the pleasure of talking to someone like Nathalie Fillon and yesterday Alexandra Badea. So please, Caroline, what is it that you take away with you from a project like Fabulamundi, from a theater like Théâtre Ouvert?
Yes. Just to be very precise, it's not Jean Villard that invented Théâtre Ouvert, because the founder of, if the founder of Théâtre Ouvert heard about that, he will come to death immediately. So it's a couple, especially it's a guy called Lucien Atoun, very well known in France, a very special person and a very special couple. And they were invited to Festival d'Avignon at the beginning of the 70s because Jean Villard at this time already said that there were no new playwrights. He was himself looking for new playwrights, and well, it didn't succeed that much. He had a relationship with a playwright called Pichette, but well, let's say that Pichette didn't have a long career in theater, but he tried to find new playwrights, which is a good idea, and he invited Lucien Atoun in Avignon to provide the national scene with new playwrights. And we are aiming at Théâtre Ouvert from this period on the discovery and the visibility of the newcomers, new generations of playwrights from 50 years now. So for me, I think that there are a lot of French playwrights involved in Fabulamundi because the French was present in Fabulamundi since the very beginning of Fabulamundi. There were short projects with less partners and less playwrights, but at the end we come to maybe 22, I don't know. So for this project, which was very interesting for me because it was a long project, a long-term project of 4 years. So we were able to develop a relationship with some playwrights of some countries, because at the beginning we decided that it was very important to read the plays, but I will come to that because it's the main question for me in this project, the main difficulty for me in this project because of the translations. But we had to meet the people, we had to meet the playwrights, because in order to develop a relationship, to put it on stage, to publish it, to do workshop activities with the playwrights, nothing better than meeting them. So we made these speed datings at the beginning of the project in every country with every national local playwrights. And for me, it was the beginning of a very interesting collaboration with some of them. For example, with Pier Lorenzo Pisano, that I didn't know before. And at this time, Pier Lorenzo was, well, let's say a newcomer in literature, and he was not translated into French. So the fact that I met him was very important because we make this translation also because, because I read Italian, but also because we were able to meet at the beginning. So for me, this was very, very interesting because we had a long-term collaboration. And for example, with Pier Lorenzo, we put it on stage for a light production, and also in French, we make the play translated into French for your own good, put on stage and published in bilingual French and Italian. These sort of things, I wouldn't be able to do that if I was not partnered in such a project, because we are mostly dedicated to the development of French writing playwrights, meaning not only French ones, but people who write in French, because we are like a platform with a lot of things that we can do for the playwrights in order to develop his career, but it's better and easier if we speak the same language. So for me, Fabulamundi is an open window for the contemporary dramaturgies of other languages, of other countries, but also other languages. So for me, it's the best input that I can tell. And as far as difficulties, well, for me, the main difficulty was in terms of translations, because in order to do a good job with the plays and the playwrights, the beginning is to have a good translation. And well, not everybody speaks English. And it was impossible to translate all the plays from all the playwrights into all the languages. So for me, it's like the regret you were talking about would be about the numbers of plays that we were able to read at the end, because we couldn't read any plays.
So it was about a little bit of frustrated curiosity and frustrated knowledge, huh? Because
yes,
not everything was made accessible because of this issue of, well, the difficulty in translating from other languages, etc. That is, yeah, one of the basic.
And also have good translations, because as Elena Tornero said in the webinar I was in just before, if you had a bad translation, better have no translation at all. It doesn't serve anything. So it's very exceptional that the translators also know the local context, the way that the people in the country speak, and the way that the dramaturgy is going on. So it's very difficult to translate, I think, but I think it's very difficult to have good translations of theater.
Yeah, Elena Tornero also, yeah, she mentioned the same thing in one of our previous conversations, and other participants, speakers as well. It is not only about eventually, hopefully, knowing well enough the language to translate, but it is also about understanding and interpreting what is on paper and transforming it so that it makes sense into a different language as well. It's also about the music, about a whole certain number of things. But yes, and apologies, I did not mention the two founders. What I wanted to underline is that he was the, let's say, the inspirer of, he provoked, he gave the étincelle because, well, you know, for anybody who's been, I lived in France many, many years, and of course, Jean Villard and the Festival d'Avignon and whatever, not being a theater person myself. So it stuck when I read it in Wikipedia, it just stuck, but apologies, I didn't want to offend anyone in terms of being the parenthood of Théâtre Ouvert.
No problem.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I will take on with Gérard Watkins. I mean, you have an incredible CV. So what can I say? You're in France. You're possibly one of the people that Caroline was talking about earlier. You're not French born. You were not initially educated in France, but you have been living in France for many, many years now. You're a multifaceted professional because you are an actor, you're a playwright, but you're also a musician. Hope I got it right. You wrote your first song many, many years ago when you were quite young in 1980. When I have time, I'm curious to see if, what this song was about. And you have an impressive, CV about the people you have worked with. And of course, as others, you have been awarded recently Best Actor and Best Living Francophone Playwright. So that's an incredible achievement. But I would like to just mention that for the past almost 25 years, no, a little bit more already, since 1994, you did found your own company, Perdita Ensemble. It's half Italian, half French, it sounds to me, but I don't know, you'll tell me more about that, which is a complex structure with a lot of different professionals, I understand, involved. Yes. And what I have read, and there's this sentence that struck me in the Fabulamundi website, your idea, your vision with this ensemble is to make history available to the spectators through stories. Mm-hmm. Is that correct? Right.
Well,
And if so, what in this sense, what has Fabulamundi represented for you as a playwright, but also as the leader and founder of this ensemble?
okay, so it's to make today's history, of course, available through theater, and not necessarily history. It is to make available constant questioning about society, about everything we're going through as human beings right now, available through theatrical forms and theatrical where plays or performances, and to make them available in and of course, I probably do have this way of making them available through what would be traditionally called playwriting, whereas it is being heralded through characters and also situations and things like that. Um, and this is what we're trying to make available, because I simply started writing because I felt that the things I was feeling in the early 80s was not being available to me in the theater I was reading. So this was just the very simple way I started writing. And as for what Fabula Mundi has brought to me, it has first of all brought to me back an ideal of exchange of interests in what is behind playwriting. Let me just give you a short example. When for the scenes of domestic violence play, I was I had met, and I really uh, agree with what Caroline said about the speed, the sort of dating thing that was going on at the beginning of actually meeting people and going into human contact with people, and not just sending texts and having people respond, oh, do I like this text or do I not like this text? And this was the first thing, was very important, which anyway meant that a few months later, I was invited to Warsaw to see Aldona's public reading of scenes of domestic violence. Now, of course, if you're dealing with a theme like domestic violence, which is heavy in France, heavy everywhere in the world, and and uh, to feel that other countries, and also with maybe in Poland, where they're having certain issues right now, that this thing would be coming into a live platform and being read, and the thoughts of what was being done being publicly read was already something which was very strong for me to live. And I saw the reading over there, and it was great because there was some the reading was really brilliant what Aldona did, and the feedback after was out of this world. I mean, we have a lot of problems. Probably a lot of playwrights have trouble getting proper feedback. We're always in the sort of a business of, is this going to work or is this not going to work? But what is truly behind the work with the forms and the meaning and the shapes and the different things we have done. I had one of the best dramaturgical feedbacks I ever had in my life over there, listening to them. And it was after like a fairy tale, because the director called Aldona, and I was saying, oh, I hope you liked it. And then they just said directly after, well, we're going to do this. And this was like something which was totally unheard of, for me, that thing could just naturally go into the process of saying, well, this is very important. This is important for the Warsaw audience to go through this, and for everything it was saying on domestic violence, and then it would just naturally flow into the production. So yeah, this was very, very moving for me and very special for me. And then it happened later on, of course, in Italy, when they asked me to come and do a piece I'd done in France. And this was a piece I really liked very much. We did it the Théâtre du Rond-Point here. And I always felt that it could go much further, this piece, that it could go a step further. And sometimes in productions, well, you just have to drop things, and go to the next one. but to have an extension in a European sense, I mean, to do it in another language with other thoughts and other emotions, other music, other people, other questions being asked is just the perfect place for me to reintroduce your work and rework it and re-bring it to other audiences. Yeah, so this whole thing and of interaction between what we're doing, we're always only dreaming of this being translated into other language and to being it being able to hit other people. And I totally agree with what Caroline was saying also with the problems with the translation, is that there are some really good translators out there, but this needs contact. This needs the person to know how the piece has been worked and what the music is about and what the theater is actually being done about, what kind of theater is it. And it needs all this knowledge, and it needs time, and it needs money, and it needs all these things to get these things done and out there. And I really wish there were more opportunities for French playwrights, of course, to get translated, but also to get the good stuff and all the stuff which is being written all over Europe into France, into decent translations. And there's this other place which is not cited here, but also deals with this, with the Mousson, where they go with translation. I remember working with Mark Ravenel there once when I was translating one of his pieces. Anyway, anything to do with physical presence, Zoom or not Zoom, but physical presence between people and communicating and trying to get the soul and the music out of the production of what is being done and into a language. And this needs Europe to really wake up. I mean, it has woken up because it has proposed Fabulamundi. It's got to go even further than that, you know? We really need this in Europe right now, like we've never needed it before. Anyway, that's my 2 cents worth.
Thank you so much for that. Listening to you, I have this sense of Fabulamundi providing also for an environment of care. There has been a lot of care put and a lot of care has been generated in these relationships between the theaters and the playwrights. And what I understand from most of you, also through the previous talks, is that you are all grateful for this opportunity of not being necessarily in a long distance, read my manuscript and let me know what you think about it relationship,
yes.
And much more in a human interaction that implies respect, trust, understanding, and taking care of all the implicated actors. We will come back to this, but let me give the floor to Pier Lorenzo Pisano. Hello. Welcome, Pier Lorenzo. You are Italian. You are the youngest around the table today. I understand from my conversations with people within Fabulamundi that possibly for you, Fabulamundi has been an opportunity, even though you have an interesting, quite interesting CV already, because you have done many things initially as an actor, then as an assistant director, both in film and in theater. You have been an editor. You have a documentary which has won a Nastro d'Argento at the Venice Film Festival. You have a short film that has been selected for the Cannes Film Festival, Art as It Is on Earth. At least that's the translation that I read. You come initially from the cultural heritage, from an initial, training, an initial training in cultural heritage, and then you moved on to music, drama in London, and finally at the Centro Sperimentale di Cinematografia in Italy. And you won one of the playwrights that has been, that both the institutions present here, Caroline Marcillac and Aldo Figura, you have worked with both of them with your play Per il tuo bene. But before going into the play and into the relationship with the Drama Theater in Warsaw and Théâtre Ouvert, tell us about Fabulamundi and what you take away, any regrets, any critical perspective, please.
I think it's been great. I feel I was very lucky because it was also, I think, a great chance to get to know different way of thinking about theater and different kind of also of producing theater and approaching the plays from an artistic point of view. And also, I think as a playwright meeting, with people from different countries in Europe, it's also interesting for your work because you see how your play is sounds like in a different language and what it becomes in the hands of someone from another country. And I think it's very interesting and it's a kind of insight on your work. And it's very exciting and fun. And yeah, and I think it really helped me also to grow as a playwright, because also I read lots of Fabulamundi plays because I met lots of Fabulamundi playwrights. So I've had also very many interesting meetings with other playwrights from the project, and it's been great, like traveling around Europe and while Brexit was happening at a certain point, it was like going against the, I don't know, the forces of breaking things apart in this kind of it's like Fabulamundi it's a force for the good and for the uniting things and creating connections, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Let me ask you a question. You have said that it has been important for you to listen to your plays being read in other languages. If I am correct, Per il tuo bene has been read at Théâtre Ouvert and is now in residency in Warsaw. But if you don't speak that language, what do you mean by, what does it represent as a play? I mean, coming back also to what Caroline was saying before, there is this whole complexity about translating. But still, you have said, and I intuitively can understand what you mean, because sometimes you listen to a text in another language, you know it in the original. Maybe it sounds it rings a bell anyway. Is that what you mean?
I think it's a very interesting process because, for example, when I first heard the play in French, and there was the audience at the beginning, I didn't understand anything. I was just laughing when they were laughing, and just pretending to know what's going on there. But after a while, like, you get a sense of, because you wrote the play, so you know what's going on, and you get a sense of the action, and you see how different different lines of the text are chosen by the actors, and there's like a moment when you understand what's going on, and it's like a magical moment when you really see the action that you wrote on your play in your language, in another language. You can actually follow it, and it's very magical. It's a kind of gift, and it's also, I think, in Teatro Ver, I heard one of the best compliments about I think also the work on the translation, because someone told me after the premiere, they told me that they thought it was a French playwright that wrote the play. So I really was flattered by this, also because it's a play about family. So, and they thought this could have been a French family. So it means like this play really can try to be, I don't know if universal, but at least a European play. And also I was a very good compliment for the translation and the work on the translation that we did also with the director during the residency at the Teatro Ver.
Okay, thank you. And Caroline, then, when working on this play and translating it, who did the intermediation? How do you manage that from a theater like yours and with what you said beforehand?
Well, first of all, in France, we are very, very lucky in terms of foreign translations into French, because we have Maison Antoine Vitesse with a panel of translators really strong in every country, area of language. So for France, I know very well the Italian translators, and I know very well Federica Martucci, who made the translation. And we worked together with her and the director, because Pier Lorenzo could not be there all the time. At the beginning, we wanted him to be there all the time with the translator, with the actors, and with the director. But it was the period of Cannes, I guess, if I remember well, so he was not able to be there anytime. But we work a lot with Federica, who came to attend the rehearsals and talk together with the director. And then they turned to Pier Lorenzo anytime that was needed to have some information to improve the translation. It was a long-term job together with Federica and Pier Lorenzo, and then together with Federica, Pier Lorenzo abroad, and the actors. Because we wanted also to, we like very much this play, and we wanted to publish it. And we do not make a lot of publications every year, and we never make bilingual publications. This was made possible by Fabulamundi project. So we wanted it to be very, not perfect, because perfection doesn't exist, but very well done with a lot of care, as you said before. So it was long-term job, and it was like, and we something that we do a lot in Théâtre Ouvert is to arrange marriage between playwrights and director. And I was certain that this director was the good person to understand what is the undertext of this play, because this play is very complicated in a sense. It's a family story, so it's very simple, but there are a lot of things that are not told inside the words and the situations that you have to understand very well, to be very linked with the playwright or the spirit of the playwright, to understand what to do on stage. And Tommy Millot, who is a young director, was for me the good director to do this job on this play.
Thank you very much for that. Aldona, let's go to you because now Pier Lorenzo is working with you in Warsaw. Would you add anything to what Caroline has just said? And then I will apologize because I will get up and move my computer because it's getting dark. So, but I'm here.
We did the reading of Pierre's play in Drama Lab, I remember, because we did a lot of readings actually of Fabulamundi plays. And yes, about the translation, we had a bit of problems sometimes with the translation because we have translators, and I think we have good translators in Poland, but we couldn't translate all of them. I mean, we had to choose, and this was something frustrating. Yes, sometimes we couldn't read a play in the original language. We had a description, and it sounded interesting, but then we were not sure, for example. So yes, and
let me ask you a question then. I read in Pier Lorenzo's bio that he says the importance of symbols for him. Any thoughts on that regarding his play? and the work that has meant or implied for you translating into Polish?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
There's not really a question behind this. It's just that if it triggers anything in terms of for a playwright who says that it's important for him to work around and with symbols, and as regards what you have all said in relation to the importance of understanding, interpreting, translating. The symbolism can change from one environment to the other.
No, I think it was quite understandable. Everything. This is also something I think very important in this project, that we were looking for things that are common to for us. I mean, and I remember that the form of the play was very interesting. But the theme, the meaning, I think it was very quite not simple, but understandable. Sometimes I think theater is about communicating with words, with symbols, metaphors, images, and this I mean this play was quite understandable for us. Yeah.
Oops. Let's talk about. Sorry, I'm muted. No, okay. Sorry. Let's talk about Gérard's play, scenes of scene of domestic violence. He mentioned it before, and you have directed this play, if I'm not wrong, Alina, in Warsaw. Can you share something with us about your work directly with Gérard on this?
Told about this a bit. I liked the play very much because at that time, when I read it, the theme of domestic violence was not, let's say, popular in Polish playwriting. It wasn't. I didn't read any Polish play about this topic, and of course it's a social problem in Poland. So that was the first thing, that I read a foreign play about a problem which was also Polish. And that's why I wanted to present it to the Polish audience. And this process about which Gérard said, that there was first a reading with the public, with the audience, and talking with the audience about the play, what kind of an impact this play had on the audience, and then the decision, okay, let's produce it. It was really very natural, and I was very happy about this. And it was also a fantastic material to work on with the actors. They loved it, and everyone, the whole cast, they had the feeling that we are doing something which is really important, an important theme, and we really wanted to present it with care and in a way that people would, think about this when they go outside, after the play. And I think this is happening. We are running the show for about 1.5 years. almost 2, and people are coming and seeing it, and we can see that they are really moved about this, and so it was really worth it. Yes. And in a way, it was a kind of an ideal way of cooperating and making a play come into life on stage. Yes.
Gerard, may I ask you to take on from that? Let's say a socially and politically engaged play, which is taken from one context to another, which has a good reception in a country which I understand might not have been yet so aware about certain issues such as this one. Anything you would like to add to what Aldona has shared with us?
Yeah, the actual, when I started working on this piece, the awareness about the domestic violence was not at all in France either, and I had big problems getting this play across in France. Is people saying, why do you want to do this thing about women being beaten? You know, what's the issue here? And this issue had been going on for years and years, and no one had been really talking about it, because I started working on the piece in 2013. And so I understand how difficult it is to get these issues out there. And but something which was also very important for me was to have the strongest empathic piece and complex piece possible, that this play was also dealing with a whole bunch of other fundamental human issues as well, and that this, in a certain way, as dedicated I am also to the art of the human actor, who are our number one emissaries out there. I mean, the directors are our number one emissaries, but also the people who are enacting them are the number one emissaries. And really, when I saw that lot do it and how they humanly just went into this thing and flowed with it, I knew it was going to be very, very strong and very powerful. And yeah, so I understand this this problem which goes on existing. You know, we've been through a lockdown, and the numbers of women being hurt during the lockdown has just shot up. And you're just, you know, saying, is this enough of but anyway, the communication and also the discussions going on, as you were saying, with the audience. I mean, here, every time we do it in France, people talk for at least 2 hours or something after it. There's something which compels people to burst out and start talking. And I'm glad that's going on also out in Poland. And I was also blessed with seeing also another production in Rome, which was set in Turin and all that, with a complete, also different way of doing it. And that was also very fine to me, that this would go on going with Elena Serra's production out in Italy. So yeah, it was very interesting for me to see it this way.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that it's not enough. You said, is it enough?
I was saying this, of course.
It's not. It's not enough. But it is something. It is about the universality of certain issues that you might tackle through a play as a playwright. But it is also about the social and political responsibility and engagement that there is from people that are cultural operators. Let me put it this way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
no, it's not enough, but it is. It is a lot. That's what I meant. We have 10 minutes to round up the conversation. You have said many things. each of you. I could take up a number of them here, but I would like you maybe instead, since this is the last happy hour talk, and we're rounding up this intense week of Fabulamundi activities, not about regrets necessarily, but I have heard a lot these days how all of you, in your very many different ways, have said and shared about the importance of hopefully being able somehow to continue in the logic that Fabulamundi has facilitated. You have said it this afternoon. It is rewarding that there has been an acknowledgement from, in this case, the European Union of supporting this project to make it happen. But it's a project. It has an end. It has a deadline. It has an end date. And might as we wish to, have it continue, it won't continue in this specific form. So my question to each one of you is, to each and all of you, sorry, is from your perspective, in your now daily work as from the end of Fabulamundi, what you take away, how do you hope to make it happen again? How do you hope to eventually have the opportunities to read in your plays in different contexts, to have them translated with this care and attention, to have them produced as it has been the case? Or if you are an institution, will you be able to, on your own, continue any of this? It's a vast thing. I'm leaving it open to you. What next from your individual and or institutional points of view, of course. Does anyone want to take a first shot? Unmute your microphone, please, Gerard.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go. Okay, I'll go for a shot. It is absolutely necessary that this contact and this relationship, which is based on meaning, which is based on art, which is based on poetry as much as social issues, which is based as mystery as far as much as knowledge, goes on. And because we sometimes have always this feeling of, the formation of what is being, what can be bought as a commercial hit or not a commercial hit or some things like that. And sometimes you're dealing with people like this and not the actual enrichment of the values of ideas and the thoughts and the artistic input which are being put into this. And this has to be held as a treasure. And this has to be held as a treasure in exchanging things. And I have sometimes the idea that people are kind of withdrawing from that now rather than expanding to that. I'm not only saying that in Europe, but I'm also saying that in France right now. And that this first part, for example, recently, it's very, very small, but we started communicating together about a few days ago about what was happening in Hungary, that, things were starting to be, you know what I mean, repressed as far as freedom of speech and things like that and freedom of creation of art. And that some people spontaneously started to reach out between us writers and trying to say, well, this should not be done. Well, this same thing I think should be also done with all the writers of the gone to the Fabulamundi, that to take this as an example and take this out back. We as writers get together and write to public institutions that these things should definitely go on, definitely be expanded, that workshops for translation should be done, European help should be done for productions, because also, of course, the financial part of it, whereas Europe was actually putting some money into these and stuff, of course helps the productions, of course helps this thing being flowed into, and plane tickets being bought so we can go back and forth, and we could take a few days off to just go out in some place to see the playwrights. So I think probably if we liked it, we've got to get our stuff together and start communicating between other and building something up like that. Maybe that will help.
Well, it's about
Your shots here.
no, thank you. It's about also the the medium and long-term impacts or effects of a project like this that are unquantifiable today.
Exactly. Exactly.
Aldona, you wanted, sorry, there was my mistake. I didn't understand.
No, it's fine. It's fine. No, I just wanted to say that I think there is a network of communication established thanks to Fabulamundi, and for example, I think we will look at the authors from Fabulamundi from different countries, what they are doing, what they are writing, maybe new things, and we can be in contact. I mean, we have new contacts, yes, and we can communicate. So in this sense, this is something very, very good, because it's not like we had 80 plays and that's the end of it, that the writers are living and writing on. And now I know how more or less Gerard is, what kind of an author, what he's interested in, that Pierre and other people from other countries. So I hope, I mean, this is not the end of it, that somehow it will go on. And of course, it's very important that these kind of projects and communication has financial support. I mean, if this was very, very helpful, we could do much more things to get to know each other and do something meaningful thanks to this help. Yeah, without it, we won't start contacting people and doing so many readings and and trying to find a good play for the Polish audience. Yes.
Thank you, Pier Lorenzo. Or yeah, okay, no, yeah.
Yes,
Pier
yes, yes.
Lorenzo,
Do you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Now, I wanted to take on what you were saying on the medium and long-term effect of something like this. And I think it's really like an explosion that we will see the effects 10 years from now, and there will still be some effects, because I think it's really what I realized also traveling with the plays is that like a theater play is this cultural product which is very, very, I don't know how to say, has so many ways of getting to life. It can be a reading, it can be an adaptation, it can be, it can take many lives, and by itself, it can also be immortal if you're very lucky, and can survive you and go on for ages, and really helps also the thing that a theater play from one country can be staged all over Europe. It's really a sign of I can think of sign of union, and really helps connecting different cultures. And for example, what Gerard was saying before, when he wrote his play, that theme of the violence against women was not so common to see on stage, and I think this is what I mean. Like his play had this long echo effect, and now it's resonating with our society, and will be resonating. Some other things that are being written today will resonate tomorrow. And I think that this occasion of bringing people together, and playwrights and producers and artists, I think will create many butterfly effects still in the future.
Thank you so much, Pier Lorenzo. Caroline, may I ask you to take the final word?
I don't know, it's not the final, but no, just for me, I'm confident that the links that we have all together can go on with the playwrights and the partners, some of them, and so on. And for me, the main topic now is to invent a new form of collaborations, also because we are in this context where traveling a lot and meeting each other can be very problematic in the coming months, or maybe more, because also of ecological questions and so on. So for me, as we know very well each other, for some of us, we have to invent new form of disseminating the words and the work, the artistic work of our playwrights. I'm not talking about Zoom and internet and so on, but I'm thinking, I think that we have to think altogether of new mediums, new links. Like I agree with Gerard, it was very interesting to see how all the playwrights could gather in 2 or 3 days by mail and so on in order to help these Hungarian students. I think that we can begin from that in order to think of new collaborations between the playwrights and us as platform, and Fabulamundi as a platform to facilitate this collaboration.
Thank you so much for that. It's indeed possibly the way forward, and it's 7:02. I should have finished at 7:00, but 2 minutes or 3 minutes more are allowed. So thank you so much, each and one of you, for having taken the time to sit down this afternoon, Friday, end of the week, busy week, and being with all of us. Personally, it's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed it very much, and I've enjoyed meeting you all, hoping that maybe sometime in the future we will be able to meet in person, notwithstanding the current situation. And yes, again, as I have said, these projects are wonderful. These projects make a difference. These projects leave a legacy, but it is also up to all of us to ensure that there is a continuity on the basis of what has been positive within these experiences. Thank you so much. Take care, and see you soon, hopefully. Bye-bye.